Okay guys, welcome to my channel. Hey, I've been meaning to get into barbecuing for a long time now, so I'm gonna switch from the propane over to a pellet grill. And I've been shopping around, and one of the ones I've been looking at is the Pit Boss Pro Series 1150. It's a nice grill. It's got really good quality steel, large hopper, has Wi-Fi, has all the modern technologies that are in pellet grills these days, and it's got a good reputation. I think it has a 5-year warranty too. So anyway, today we're going to go through the process of seasoning the grill, first doing a burn-in and then doing the seasoning so that the grates don't become sticky when you go to do a real cook. And I'm just going to show you the steps I do to get this thing going. All right, let's get into this. So it's really windy out here today. We're in northern Arizona, and we're just having a windstorm right now. It's kind of cold, but I still want to get this burnt in and get it ready for cooking. So I just got this unloaded from the truck and haven't finished taking all the decals off of it yet. But once I do, I'm going to throw some pellets in here and do what they call the burn-in. One of the first things I'm going to do, though, is remove the kitty protector here for the pellets in the auger pit here, the hopper. I don't like this thing. I like to reach in, be able to push those pellets in case there's any pellet bridges that form when it's feeding into the auger. And I think this thing is just foolish. Anyway, that's my first task, is get that out of there. So we can see from the inside there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws to hold that in. Just use a cordless drill and begin removing. Alright, once all those screws are out, this thing just comes right out. There we go. Now we have full access to the hopper, and you can reach in here and push any pellets and break up any pellet bridges that form so that you get a nice even feed of the pellets in there. This is great if you have kids and stuff, but come on, we're all adults. You're not going to stick your hand into the auger, right? Right? All right, see you on the other side. Okay, now we have the hopper all full. Next step is to begin the burn-in process, and to do that we got to make sure all the decals and everything are removed from the burn chamber here. So one of the first things I like to do is get these grills out. We'll set these aside and get each of the grates out of here. The whole point is to get this burn chamber exposed, the fire pit exposed, or the ash pot, or whatever they call it, and just make sure there's nothing in there. To remove this this lever here is your flame control, so to braise meats and stuff. So I want to temporarily remove this, and you can just take that rod out, okay, flip it up. And then we want to remove this actual drip pan here, which is easier said than done with one hand. So I'll be right back after I get that removed. Okay, with that removed, you can see the ash pot. Get this other drip pan out of there. And there we go. So this is the 1150 model has a removable ash pot, so when you clean it, you just remove it from the underside, and you don't have to remove all the grates and everything. But I just wanted to make sure there was no other labels in here. Oh, see, there's some plastic in here. That's a good catch. Get that out of there. Don't want that getting burned in. You know, you just kind of go through there, make sure everything looks good, and then once we're clear, we'll start feeding the pellets in and prime the auger. And once the auger's primed, it should ignite and we'll start doing a burn. Hopefully it's not so windy. I've never used this before, so I'm hoping the wind doesn't make a big difference on it. Okay, to prime the auger, there's a prime button on the control panel. And you can see the red indicates what's active at the time. So right now the fan is active, the auger is active, and ignition. And so you can hold the prime button down to speed up that auger a bit, and that'll help get the pellets into the fire pot. So you can see that auger turning. And we still don't have any pellets yet. We'll just, as long as that auger's turning, that's good. Okay, good. We're starting to see the pellets there. So it looks like the auger is now primed. So as you can tell, that's a very slow process. So what I'm going to do is grab a handful of pellets and help it out a little, toss them into the pot there. Maybe that'll help get it ignited. There we go. Threw a handful of pellets right into the pot. Maybe that'll help it get ignited a little faster. Okay, we have fire now. So next step is to set that to 350 for 20 minutes. All right, everything's back together. We got a good flame going. Grates are back in place. We're just gonna let that cook for a while and burn in. See you in a bit. Okay, everything's going good. It's still burning in. We have it up to temp. It's 375 about now. So we'll let this cook for 20-some minutes, and then we'll crank it up to over 400, maybe 450 or whatever, to do the final burn. Okay, it's been 20 minutes, so we're gonna crank this up now. Get this going up to, say, 450 or so. And let that cook for another 20 minutes. Okay, so while that's burning off, I want to go get the app for your phone. And this app lets you control the temperature, and you get alerts remotely about events on the grill. So when it reaches a certain temperature, you'll get an alert saying, hey, I reached 450 degrees, that kind of thing. So I'll show down in the corner there the screen for the phone app, and then also the kind of alert you get on your watch if you have an Apple Watch that tells you when the grill is at a certain temperature. Pretty cool. Okay, so once the burn's complete, it's important that you season the grill. And by that I mean the grates and then the burn plate underneath the grates. And I'll put a link in the show notes below of a URL that goes to Pit Boss's website that explains that in more detail. But one of the important things is you want to use a high temperature grease. Don't use something like olive oil, because after, I think it's 375 degrees, olive oil doesn't taste that great and might actually get a little toxic if you burn it too much. So anyway, use a high temperature grease. You can use spray grease like vegetable oil or canola oil or something. I kind of like using coconut oil. But that's a solid, so you have to apply it with a paper towel, and you just smother the grate as they're warm, let it melt on there, and then you keep burning it in there. And that's kind of like seasoning like you would a cast iron pan. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so I think everything should be ready now. Everything's burned in, and then coated everything internally with coconut oil, so everything should be seasoned. So that's good. All right, so one of the things I did a quick check on was the controller. So on the Pit Boss 1150 Pro Series, version 1 of the firmware for the controller only lets you do 50 degree increments above, I think it was above 250 or 300. You can only go in 50 degree increments. And then below 250, it was like 25 degree increments. And on mine, it only goes from 5 degrees up to 200. There's no settings under 200. The new firmware is supposed to give you 10 degree increments, and then after 300, 25 degree increments. So I guess I'm going to call Pit Boss technical support and request an upgrade. And what they usually do is they have you send your controller back in, and they do a firmware flash on your controller and then send it back to you. So maybe we can do it where they send me one, I swap it out and send back my old one. I'm not sure how they do it now, but anyway, that's something to look for if you're just getting one of these grills set up for the first time. So